Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Robert Stickle. I'm also joined by my colleagues Jim Patterson and Paul Estabrooks. Jim and Paul will be today's presenters and will discuss the topic of strategic portfolio management for new product development. This webinar is a new addition to our series of strategic portfolio management webinars, so if you enjoy this video, feel free to watch the others we have available on our channel and look towards the next installment, which we'll be releasing soon. And as always, I hope that today's presentation grants you some insight into the world of project and portfolio management and gets you excited for the new developments happening within the industry and here at OnePlan. Thank you again, and I'll now turn the presentation over to Jim.
Thank you, Robert, and welcome everybody. Our topic today of strategic portfolio management for new product development is going to blend together and augment a couple of processes together to kind of bring things to a state-of-the-art set of capabilities and disciplines that organizations should be using today. So we're excited to bring this topic for you today. So let's start by defining some of these things. If we say, what is product portfolio management? It's really all about developing and implementing an overall and comprehensive profitable business strategy for your company's entire product line, not just individual product management. And the goal is really about making the product portfolio as strong as it can be so that you can have a successful product company and a profitable product company overall. And product portfolio management, goes way beyond, as I mentioned, that singular product management and day-to-day project management of those efforts, but it's really about understanding the overall goals and benefits so that you can not only boost your company's bottom line, but also transform the company from top to bottom in the way that you approach what products you take on and how you manage them during their life cycle. Now, the purpose of product portfolio management is really the process of looking at every product that a company offers and see how well it's meeting the company's goals and how well it's performing. It's also about looking ahead and envisioning the future project strategies for company growth, or whether or not you want to have cost savings within the product lines that you have, or other goals you may ascribe to. And strong portfolio management of products involves ongoing analysis, always throughout this process, of the performance of current products, as well as market trends for the development of future products, meaning let's get the most out of what we have in flight, and let's make sure that we have our finger on the pulse of where things are going so that we can take advantage of those opportunities as they come forward in the marketplace. And with solid product portfolio management strategies, we can more efficiently assess which products are at which life cycle stages by allowing them to adapt market strategies accordingly. So as certain things are going into the later stages of their life, new ones can come on and take their place. As part of product portfolio management, it's all about decision making, and we make decisions about which product lines to expand, which ones to shrink, and what future opportunities might be pursued. So it is that balancing act of existing and old and even retiring. So the strategic objectives of product portfolio management is really to save a company resources and dollars while driving revenues. The product objectives for companies may depend on the nature of the company or their overall business goals or who they are or their status in the marketplace. For example, larger, well-established companies with big, diverse portfolios, typically build their product portfolio strategies around expansion and getting bigger and growth. Alternatively, companies might expand by marketing existing products, finding new uses for them, for new audiences, and figuring out ways that they can leverage that and grow more horizontally with those. And companies may also acquire other businesses. A strategy might be to roll up and acquire companies to increase their revenue and diversify their portfolio. Smaller companies may be more focused, and they may focus their resources in figuring out ways they can cut costs and increase efficiencies and squeeze more profit out of the products that they already have, because each of them holds more weight as far as the success of that overall organization. Now, the benefits of product portfolio management, as opposed to just individual product management, is one is we continually evaluate product performance and make decisions based upon that. We also look for ways to increase efficiency by looking at which products are actually meeting the company's goals and help us prioritize better, and also evaluate when to launch new products and when to do them more quickly and more timely. It also can improve our competitive ranking. So if we've got our finger on the pulse and figure in the aspects of things like market trends, we're better able to assess customer needs and be there to adapt to changing marketplace, and even try to be there first in the marketplace to maintain our leadership positions. It also centralizes data so that teams across the organization have better information at their fingertips to provide decision support as we need it as we're making these decisions. It also helps us along the way to not only identify, but prepare for and plan for risks that may in turn become issues that we may need to deal with over the course of our product management life cycles. And overall, the Manufacturers Alliance showed that 61%, or a good majority of product managers, rate product lifecycle and portfolio management as very important to them, because product portfolio management helps make businesses make better decisions in line with the reality of their product successes. So they're in context of what's really happening on the ground. So the components of product portfolio management really boils down to the analysis pieces of it. It begins with the analysis as we look at our existing products and assess how well they're performing. Management that focuses too narrowly on a single goal or objective may overlook factors or dimensions that affect product success. And that's one of the bigger messages that we're going to have here today, that there are many dimensions to this. And similarly, a company that leans on one product or focuses on something too much may have nowhere to turn if that product goes south, and if the market shifts or something happens, event-wise, that makes that product not as robust as it used to be. Now, there's a variety of analysis frameworks on how to analyze these things, and we're not going to go into that here today. But it's not a one-size-fits-all approach, depending on the type of product and the industries that you're in. So we're going to talk about software and solutions today. And common features of overall portfolio management software usually include the data analytics piece, some product roadmap tools for product management. There's risk management features, there's budgets and resource allocations, there's scheduling tools, there's time tracking. And there's also portfolio ranking tools to help prioritize things as well. So those are some of the common things that we see. But in this modern age, portfolio management disciplines are kind of moving the ball forward into more strategic portfolio management, as we're going to call it. The analysts out there like Gartner and many others are saying that, strategic portfolio management, which is layered on to traditional portfolio management, is a set of business capabilities and processes that support an overall management of products and technology. And it's really designed to support enterprise-wide strategy to execution alignment and the adaptation of that alignment in the way we execute. It supports a clear definition of business strategies and business outcomes, but it also adds other dimensions, as I was mentioning earlier on. Factoring in business capabilities that we want to have, investments, programs, digital and physical products, even that products that go to our end marketplace, applications or technology that have to support those things on the back end, and the projects that we execute on to help deliver those things and support them. So a complete strategic portfolio management solution, or SPM, must define and prioritize, must manage the execution, and must drive the achievement of these strategies and provide full visibility across the entire process. Now, key attributes of layering on strategic portfolio management has three main pieces. One is portfolio alignment. So we want to make sure things align well with all those different dimensions. We also then, based on the information we have, want to do value-driven decision-making. And then we also have to have ongoing portfolio flexibility, because as we see, things don't stay the same for very long in this current day and age. Now, the reason that we move to this is to help us become more agile and more nimble and more responsive, because there's an increasing pace of change out there today, and environmental turbulence in the marketplaces create sometimes unsustainable strain for many organizations, and a need for more agility is there. Unfortunately, only 16% of organizations, Gartner found, are highly effective in all three attributes of that strategic portfolio management diagram that we showed you. So a fragmented approach, by not doing this all holistically in a combined fashion, can lead to excessive costs and missed opportunities, and also, causing us to stumble as organizations if we don't adopt this thing more holistically and more completely. So OnePlan, we're going to show you here today, as a solution, really embodies the overall portfolio management capabilities that we've talked about in these prior slides. There is the the business leaders aspects who are defining that strategy and the direction of the overall company to be able to capture those things and communicate them well within the organization. There's the execution leaders, the ones that have to deliver, that basically have the projects and the initiatives and the product efforts that basically deliver on the strategies that are outset by leadership. And then there's the product leaders, the ones who actually own the products themselves and the product lines, and the surrounding technology that might be needed around those things, and factoring those dimensions in to get a complete picture and all the related information needed to make those decisions from a portfolio management perspective. Now, OnePlan as a solution provides capabilities that address all these different areas, whether it be the portfolio management that we would do overall, and the visuals on that, whether it be more traditional or more board-like, or even from a product perspective, more roadmap type of perspectives that we want to look at as far as our product plans, as well as the resource capacity planning. Do we have the resources allocated in the right way and in the right percentages based on the value that the products are delivering to us overall? Financial planning and the financial tracking, which is important to whatever level of detail you want, setting out budgets and tracking actuals and maybe revised forecasts as situations on the ground change. And then the execution, building those execution plans, whether they be more waterfallish type plans or more agile plans that allow you to execute on these product initiatives in a way that is most conducive to the way that your organization feels that they need to deliver. And as well as having ongoing status, whether that be individual status reports on individual initiatives, or whether it be collecting information from your team, the folks in the teams that are working on these initiatives, whether it be having a central place for them to provide status to leadership so that we can have current information at our fingertips to make those decisions that we talked about, or even if we have to collect time against things. The idea is to have the insights that you need at any given point in time to keep the train rolling the way you want, but also to have the information at your fingertips to make decisions as things change, as they most certainly will. Now, the other part is the demand piece. We talked about, innovation and demand management and ideation. Demand can come from many sources. They can be ideas from your customers or individual employees. There can be requests that come in. There could be opportunities or deals from a merger and acquisition perspective even. The idea here is those ideas can come in many forms, and then you may be capturing in a variety of places. But a solution like OnePlan provides a common forum where you can have a funnel for all intake through a common place that you can evaluate. To have all of that come into a central place for ideation and requests, and be able to have them vetted, prioritized, maybe built out from a business case perspective, so that we can make decisions and analyze what things that we should be tackling next, what things that we're currently working on that we should maybe continue to invest more in. Those types of decisions are coming from information that comes from a solution like OnePlan. And then there's the strategic alignment. We talked about leadership, developing those strategies to chart the course for where the organization should be going. And not only can OnePlan allow them to articulate those strategies and even the tangible key results or metrics about whether or not we're actually achieving those and actually execute on that strategic plan, we can also then align those strategies with the actual project and product portfolio, such that we make sure that the things that we're working on at that level are aligned with the higher overarching strategies that our organization has set forth. And if we take that another step further for strategic portfolio management, as I was alluding to earlier on, we have the strategies, and some organizations are doing a job of aligning projects with strategies to make sure that they're working on the things that relate to where the organization wants us to go. But there's other dimensions now. People talk about things like enterprise architecture and other dimensions of that, but notice that there might be applications that are impacted, business capabilities that are impacted, but notice products is in there, and there's products that are focused in that are related to all these different things in the organization. And all these elements in strategic portfolio management are interrelated with one another, such that when we make decisions on initiatives and products, etc., we should have our eye on all the other dimensions combined to see what is impacted and what else might have to be changed or modified in order to achieve the overall objectives of any one of these elements. Ultimately, if we look at this stuff holistically, we're going to achieve the business outcomes that we want or desire more frequently. Now, OnePlan, once again, provides you capabilities in all these different areas. We have the enterprise architecture, including the product portfolio, that allows us to identify and capture the relevant information around those elements, and then relate them to an overall strategic plan, which in turn relates also to a project or initiatives portfolio, so that these things are all working in concert and related to one another, and are all being factored in as we make decisions on any aspect of this. There's also reporting around this. So when we talk about a lot more of these interrelations and these other factors, we want to understand how they are interrelated and understand different elements, like if we're working on a certain product, what projects, programs, or applications or business capabilities might be associated with those, and how are they all interrelated, so I can quickly see what I'm impacting by changing any one or more of these elements. And the idea, there's lots of visuals available to us in OnePlan to do that. And then there's a consistent status reporting. As I mentioned in the slides, one of the key things is currently assessing and analyzing how these products are performing, and are they meeting the objectives and the goals of the organization. And by being able to have information on individual initiatives or on the portfolio of products overall, we can get good information at any given point in time to help us, let's say, reverse course, make modifications, or pivot as we need to over the course of the life cycle of our product management. So those are some concepts. Now I'd like to turn it over to Paul Estabrooks, who will give you a demonstration of OnePlan and how some of these capabilities can be leveraged.
So I'm going to walk through today some of the aspects that Jim just covered, and I'm going to start where I often do with these demos in strategy, because I think that's where things should begin. So we have in here in our My Strategy area in the solution, we have a list of corporate objectives. And as Jim showed just a few minutes ago on one of the slides about how your product mix and your product portfolio needs to align, like, why are you doing this? Are you trying to grow a market, expand into a new market? Are you trying to grow revenue, whatever the case may be? And your product portfolio maps very tightly to that. And so it's important to understand that linkage. So very quickly here, I've got a set of objectives, and I just click on the first one. There's a bunch of information in here, but with OnePlan, we've also created this idea that I could come in and say, which products in our product mix, and you'll see these products come up over and over again a little later in the demo, which ones are linked to launching products successfully, like which ones are tied to that core objective, in addition to which key results are tied to that. And so right there, I know these products are integral to the accomplishment, rather, of this objective. If I drill into the key result, it too is connected to a couple of the products, the same one in one case and one of the other ones. So we have this cross-section, this linkage, if you will, at the strategy level, where we have key results that are tied to products. So a product will help drive a key result, and the objectives themselves are tied to the product mix, in addition to other things being tied to the strategy. As Jim showed, there's lots of different things that get tied into it. Today, we're going to focus on products, but the way we've architected the solution, those can be linked to these items so that you have that clear visibility and linkage to how your product mix is driving and supporting your overall corporate strategy. So I wanted to start there. I think it's a crucial part of this. So if we look at this as we sort of expand it, you'll see sort of the full layout of our solution. I could add in here associated products, and we could have a view, and I'm going to do that from the reverse here in just a minute, but I can see very quickly what are my objectives, what are my key results, and then all the different information as I just showed. So we've added this other area, if you've ever seen any other OnePlan demos. So we've now got one called My Products. This is my product portfolio, and I'm going to spend a good chunk of the demo in here. And you can see here, if I just go to my product alignment screen, open this up. So who owns these products? Let's say we've got some business units, if you will. But there's my product mix, and there is their associated objectives, their associated key results, associated capabilities, associated value streams, all of that stuff, a prioritization score, and way off to the right, an ROI. So all that rich information that speaks to that alignment. Why do we have these products? What objectives are they tied to? What associated results are they? And so forth. So I can understand very quickly my product mix and which pieces of this are driving which parts of my overall corporate strategy. And if I look at this, I've got a variety of different views I can go and look at. I'm going to come back to product prioritization a little bit later. Kind of want to end on that. But I first wanted to show you, lots of different ways we can view this. We can also view it in other formats. So maybe I want to look at my product mix in a board view, which ones are proposed, which ones are active, which one's closed, and which one do we just put on hold for now. So I've got a group of my product mix here. Maybe I want to look at it in terms of categories. So where does it fit in the overall process and so forth? How are we looking at it? What is the linkage between these products? So we can come up with any type of board view that makes sense with columns and lanes to understand our product mix. How are we fitting this thing together? How does all these products interrelate, and where are they in their journey? And thirdly, this is a popular one in the world of product management, product portfolio management rather. How do they look on a roadmap? So let's see their process over time. I'm organizing this by some corporate goals: customer sat, grow business, transformation, and where do the products fit there? Again, I could align them to the objectives. I could have shown them by market, let's say, if I had that defined, and I could look at my roadmap accordingly, right? Or by business unit that owns it and so forth. Lots of different ways. So with our product portfolio, we can look at it in a list view and with rows of, with columns of data, including budgets and ROI and so forth, as well as alignment. We can look at it in board views and move the cards around, or we can dive in here and do the conventional roadmap view, and with various lanes in the roadmap for how we might define alignment to, in this case, corporate goals, or to the overall strategy, or to markets and so forth. So I've got lots of flexibility there. If I want to dive into, I'm going to dive into this product and look at it in greater detail. So now what I want to do is understand what is the data that I have in here that I can use and capture, and then use that in a prioritization exercise to conclude. So here on my opening details page, this data might have come from that intake idea that Jim talked about in some of the slides, where you might capture some of this initial information. You got a SWOT analysis in here. Those are the conventional things that people want to capture, as well as where are we in the life cycle of this particular conversation or this particular product. And then down here, I've got my prioritization, which I showed a few minutes ago, and I'm going to use that again a little bit later, timelines and so forth. But then we're also tracking some other data. What are the personas of the kind of customer that would use this application? What do we know about them? What are the competitors that we might have to an Xbox game? Well, the obvious two competitors. What capabilities might we align to? What key results are we aligned to? We talked about that a minute ago. Where were they? Where were they aligned? What are the product initiatives and so forth? There's a couple in there. What projects that we're tying to the product itself, and so on. So we have all of this information. Again, it's very important to us to make sure that you have the visibility into how a product is tied to a strategy, how a project or an epic or something you're doing might be tied to a product or to a portfolio or whatever the case may be, so that you can understand that when you make a decision, what are all the knock-on impacts of that as something is reprioritized up or down, and where does that spawn to, and what does it impact? And so there's where we capture that linkage across all those different things, the kinds of things you need to know about the product. Who are the people that use it? Who are the competitors to it? What objectives are they serving? Where are we in the market, and so forth. Some other data, if you've seen OnePlan before, so we're using this capability because it applies to a product world as well. There are resources that are needed at specific time windows related to this particular project so that we can get this product out to market, in each of its releases and so forth, and I'll spend more time on that in just a minute. So we have the full weight of OnePlan's resource management. Jim showed that in one of the earlier slides as well. That is available to us here to make sure that we have a clear line of sight. Do we have enough people, and are they dedicated to the products that matter most, given that product's link back to our corporate strategy? So we have that. The other thing we might want to do is we ought to manage this with a budget. What are the costs related to implementing this or bringing this product to market in this case, and where are we in terms of tracking against those? So we have budgets, and then we could go in and look at benefits and so forth, maybe track actuals, other forms and tabs that we could turn on to make sure that we are tracking our expenditure and our investment in this product properly. Now, when it comes to the execution of the development of this product, there's a few pieces of this puzzle. I'm going to come back to risks in a minute. I want to go schedule first. We have releases, and if I blow these releases out, you can quickly see, where those releases are, and you can create a release plan for this particular project. We're using, our scheduling capability, or we could link to a scheduling tool like Microsoft Project or whatever the case may be. However you want to execute and manage that project, if you're managing it sort of on this conventional model with releases. Likewise, I could go and treat this as an agile model, and a lot of product development ends up following an agile approach. It's a continuous improvement. You're always releasing new features and so forth. And so this becomes a critical part of this. Well, if I expand this, you'll see we've got a whole bunch of user stories and whatnot that we can go and look at. And I've assigned them all to sprints. So if I come over here, just let me move something out of the way here. If I come over here and go show sprints, I've got different sprints. Each sprint has some user stories from each of the different features that we are working on. This sprint's a bit overloaded, so we might want to move some stuff around because we have some availability in this sprint. So I've defined, in this case, just quickly, I did 3 sprints of how we're going to roll out or develop this capability as part of this product development. And you can imagine in a world of a continuous improvement of a product and the constant nurturing of new features and new functionality and new versions and new releases, you would use multiple sprints, and you can plan them here. Or we can always connect to a connected system like an Azure DevOps or a Jira or some other tool where you're managing this type of backlog, and then bring that data here to help drive your portfolio. So very quickly, I can see what are my sprints, what is my backlog, and where am I executing on that, and what do I have left to do? Jim also mentioned risk. I added one in here to kind of make sure that you could see that concept is right here as part of the work plan. We might have a risk related to this. If I just pop this open, we've got a risk around batteries and supply chain. So we want to be tracking that in case that becomes a concern or impact on our overall delivery of this product and getting it to market when we want to. So we have the ability here to track risks. We could track issues and other items. You can create other ones as well that look at the kinds of things you need to be tracking and monitoring as part of your product life cycle, as part of its development, and part of its release to market. So now I'm going to go back to the portfolio. Oh, I wanted to show one more thing. I'm going to go back there. I forgot one item. Lastly in here, and I think it's important to show, is that ability to do status reporting. So I've got some information here. This is pulling from all that data I just showed you, and it would obviously get fleshed out more and more as we add more data, and then we can submit it and track it and look at the trends for this project. Is it tracking to deliver where it should? Or this project is at risk. So what is about it that's at risk? What has changed or evolved from the last status report, maybe at the start of the previous sprint or so forth? Okay, so we could keep and track all of this data so that we have that visibility. So regardless of how we choose to execute on the creation of this product, what tools we choose to use, we can always provide a status report, resource plan, and track a budget, so that as a portfolio manager managing a whole product portfolio, you have a clear line of sight. Why am I building these products? What are we doing? What strategies are we trying to support? And where are they? Do I have enough people? Are they deployed correctly? Are we on track on budget? Are we on track on progress? What risks and issues are we managing? And how are we progressing generally? It's all here for you to manage. Now we'll go back to the portfolio where I wanted to be. So I'm going to jump back to the list, but I'm going to go to a product prioritization. And I'm going to just jump into this here. I want to sort of set this up a little bit. Here we go. I've got my list of products. I want to look at this in terms of a budget. I'm going to just switch my custom range here really quickly. I'm going to say my fiscal year goes April to March. Apply. And you'll see here I've got costs in all those months. I have a target budget, my FY22 budget, 60 million for that time window. There is some money in the previous months that shows up here, 75, but it's 60 million here. That's the 12 months that I've got. I've got 89 million, or 84 rather, million worth of spend. So I'm going to have to stick handle that a little bit here in a bit. But I also want to look at where are we in terms of timing. So I'm going to zoom that out quickly and just bring it, oh, oops, wrong way. Bring it over here so that I can just sort of see what quarters stuff is in. Now, obviously, I got more spend in here than I should. It's over budget. So some of these products we may have to make some tough decisions on. maybe the ones that are proposed, we say we're just not going to do those, and see what impact that has on our budget. And we took out a little bit of money, but really not much. So maybe we need to kind of dig deeper. So if we start knocking out another project, now we're getting down. We've still got a ways to go. If I take out, I think this one's a good one to take out. Now I'm actually under budget. So now I could potentially bring that one back in and so forth. I'm not going to try and solve this problem. Look, I got really, really close. That's pretty good, okay? But I've now got a timing issue. So I could start to look at and say, well, what if we delayed when we started work on that project, and I'll move it out. Now I've made a bit of a problem here, but I've started to fix that. I'm not going to try and solve for this right now. But the idea here is, as a product portfolio manager, you can manage that priority against budget. I could also do it up here against resources and look at where my resources are as well. And how do I want to deploy those two pieces of assets, people and money? How am I going to deploy that to get done the optimal product mix? What has to be in? And remember, right here, I can see what objectives I'm tied to. And so, you know, if launch a new customer community is a critical project or critical objective, I certainly shouldn't be killing that project. It probably needs to be in, whereas I might take out one that's somewhere else on the list because it's a lesser valued or lesser important objective. These are the kinds of decisions that you can make or have to make all the time. And here's the available information for you to make them. It's here at your fingertips. We've created those linkages, that visibility into that, and giving you the tools to iterate through this and save different scenarios for how what different models might be and how you might approach this. I'll conclude on this with a dashboard. We use Power BI, lots of reports. Jim talked about ideas and ideation. You could also do a prioritization matrix like this for your product mix, which markets are they in, and so forth. Maybe I want to understand how my objectives are progressing because I know what products are linked to them, and so forth. Long list of reports to show where you are in terms of resourcing, where you are in terms of overall financial performance, and so forth, as well as all the product mix. Wanted to just show you a couple. There's a rich report dashboard or reporting dashboard package that we continue to add new reports to. And Jim, with that, I'll draw the demo to conclusion.
Terrific. Well, let's summarize and then talk about some potential next steps you can take. So from recap of what we talked about during the course of this presentation and demonstration, you know, product portfolio management is an important discipline for organizations to adopt. Strategic portfolio management, or SPM, incorporates additional dimensions to be considered in the decision-making process that augment and supplement traditional product portfolio management and traditional portfolio management disciplines. So SPM brings together not only the things we traditionally see, but also factor in business capabilities, investments, programs, digital and physical products, applications and projects, and other dimensions if you see fit, in order to make a more comprehensive decision based upon more factors. OnePlan also provides solutions and capabilities for all of this, for both the product and strategic portfolio management needs that you have. It also supports, as Paul showed you, a variety of execution methodologies and frameworks, you know, agile, waterfall, combinations thereof. And it also provides the most complete set of portfolio management capabilities on the Microsoft platform today. Also, as he mentioned, OnePlan integrates with other solutions and tools and with Microsoft Teams for content and collaboration so that you can have a more comprehensive user experience that's focused around OnePlan. And those integrations could include other product lifecycle management tools that you're using as well. Now, we do this because portfolio management is our passion. Even though we have a number of different gold certifications from Microsoft, project and portfolio management is where we really live day to day. And we get recognized for this. We are Microsoft's current global project and portfolio management partner of the year as a Microsoft partner. We're recognized by analysts like Gartner and Infotech and Scaled Agile for our work in these areas as well. We're here to help you to whatever degree you'd like. We can help you with the technology itself or the people and process aspects of these things to help you make it a more overall discipline within your organizations as you hope to mature in these areas. Now, you can try this out and get OnePlan and get your hands on it for a free trial if you go up to microsoftsappsource.com. And in there, we have a number of different frameworks, but the strategic portfolio management right now is probably the one up there that you want to take a look at and be able to work with that and look at all these different aspects and how to interrelate all the things that Paul showed you here today. Also, if you want to just talk about the possibilities of getting into a solution like this, we do offer a free roadmap workshop to work with you and review your current use of solutions and tools in your processes, assess your current requirements and where you'd like to be in a future state, and also determine, how to implement or migrate from where you're at into this new solution. And you may even own a good chunk of what you need to do that already. So the total cost of ownership just may be an incremental investment on your part. But happy to engage with you on that front. So whether it be a free trial or a roadmap workshop, or if you're even not quite there yet, you're still curious. Paul gave a very high-level, short, generalized demo today. We're happy to schedule a more personalized one that addresses your specific use cases and pain points and really focus on the things that are important to you. So do reach out to us and schedule one if you're so interested. You can reach out to us at contact@oneplan.ai. You can also address your curiosities at our website with www.oneplan.ai. There's a lot of rich information and resources up there as well. So we'd like to thank you for your time today. You can either reach out to us at the general contact information email, or feel free to reach out to Paul and I directly if you want to. We'd like to thank you for your time today. We are invested in success, and that's our customer success. And we really want to provide an experience and solutions and capabilities to customers that really provides one interface, one experience, all within one plan. We really do hope to engage with you. Please do reach out, and we look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day.